Hi students, so Mr. Clucky here again. What I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this lab investigation. We are going to test a magnetic field of a magnet, and we're going to see if we can figure out which direction the force is going. So for this, we need to have a few objects. We need to have a sheet of white paper, right, which I've got. We need to have a bar magnet, which I also have, and you'll notice on here I've got the north end and the south end labeled. And then we also need some compasses. And you'll see down below here that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 compasses here, right? And I'll let you guys see these. Here are my compasses. You'll notice that these compasses are different from what we've seen in the video or in the PowerPoint slides, whereas these compasses, instead of having a red arrow, you'll notice that if I hold this up to our camera here, these compasses don't have a red arrow. They have the north, east, south, and west direction, and that there is an arrow right below north. So that arrow is going to be like our red arrow from in the slides. Okay, so when you see red arrow, I want you to envision that green arrow on north. Okay, so those are the materials that we have. While we do this, in the very end, when we get it arranged, I'm going to have you sketch the drawing of this magnet and the compass arrangement in your notebooks. And that sketch should go on page 37. And make sure you don't take any more than a half a page, because you will be putting something at the bottom of that page as well. And that's going to be a graded item later on. So make sure you don't take more than the entire page. Take about half a page. There shouldn't be very much you need to include on that. All right. So remember, this part of the investigation is we need to get some evidence to answer the questions that we've had about whether the forces in the field have a direction. Okay, we know that some objects experience a force in the field and that forces have direction. And one thing we're wondering is if the forces in the field have directions in different places. Okay, so we're going to investigate where that is. Okay. Remember, we're going to be using compasses here. So the compass needles are actually just really small magnets, okay? So these compass needles are really small magnets, and what's nice is that these are going to show us direction in various places of the field. Remember that when we do this, we want to let those compass needles come to rest, because if we don't, they're going to be in all different directions and it's not going to be accurate. So we're going to place them, let them come to rest, and then we'll record our data. All right, so let's go ahead and get this put together. So I'm going to tip my screen so you can see my setup down here. And I'm going to put my piece of paper right here so you guys can see it. And then I'm going to place my bar magnet right in the middle so that you'll see I have, and I'll aim it this way so you guys can see, I've got the north side over here and the left, or in the south side over here. So we got the North Pole and the South Pole. And now I'm going to take my compass needles and I'm going to place them in very specific locations around this magnet. So I'm going to place one right here. I'm going to place one right here. I'm going to place another right here. I'm going to place another right here. So I've got 4, and we're actually space these out just a little bit more. I'm going to place one right here, one on this side, one over here, and one right here. So notice we're actually only going to use 9 of these compasses. So hopefully you can see here the different directions that they're pointing and aiming to. All right, so as I look around the magnet, and I'll kind of try to highlight what we're seeing here. So we've got the north end of our magnet and the south end of our magnet. And remember, we've got these compasses all around it. And remember, these compasses are really just little mini magnets, all right? And what's nice is they help to show us direction. So starting over here on this side, the North Pole, with this compass, we see that the north needle, right, that green arrow is pointing outwards this way. So I'll draw it off to the side. It is aimed that way. And if we go around this direction, we'll see that that north green arrow points a little bit differently now. And over here, we see it pointing off to the side like this. If we keep going around, now the north arrow is pointing that way. And then over here, the north arrow is pointing completely in. And as I draw these, I'm going to remove my compasses so that we can see. Right here, my north arrow is pointing inwards. Here, it's pointing to the side. And here it's pointing out this direction. So this is what the magnetic field and the direction looks like on my bar magnet. And if I draw my compasses, right, I can draw my circles, and we can see the direction of the force of this magnetic field and how it changes with respect to location in the magnetic field. And I'm going to let you just take a moment to look at here and see if there's any patterns you notice, right? So what patterns are you seeing in this drawing? One thing that I'm noticing is that the arrows are pointing out from the north end this way. And I see a mirror image. So what I'm seeing on this side is mirrored on this side of the magnet. Okay, so we've got north always pointing out this way. So the force looks like it's headed out. And then it turns and it starts going in this circular shape. And if you remember from our iron filings, we might have also seen our iron filings follow the same direction. And then it looks like the force goes into this side, and then we see a mirror image the other direction. So notice how it's forming these almost loops. All right, if you trace that circle, you'll notice that the arrows follow that circular line in the loops. In the middle, we've got our magnet with north here and south there. All right, so please make sure that you draw this model into your science notebooks. It should be on page 37. And make sure you put this on half the page. You can title it Testing the Field.